But here's the key with what Donald Trump is doing with USAID and the FBI and the CIA. This is a reformation.
Welcome to Proven and Probable. I'm Maurice Jackson, and I'm delighted to have you here today. Before we begin today's video, make sure you give us a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section below. And as always, we thank you for your continued support. And just a reminder, we sell physical precious metals through Miles Franklin Precious Metals Investments. We offer physical delivery to your home, precious metal IRAs, and Brinks depository accounts. You can reach me at 855-505-1900. That's 855-505-1900. Or you may email maurice@milesfranklin.com. That's maurice@milesfranklin.com. Now, before we begin, I want to introduce you to what is arguably the best book on investing and finance, entitled Nobody Knows Anything, written by Bob Moriarty, the founder of 321 Gold and 321energy.com. You can pick up a copy on our website under the Education tab. And again, the book is entitled Nobody Knows Anything.
Joining us for a conversation is the legendary Bob Moriarty, the founder of 321 Gold and 321energy.com. Today, we will discuss a range of topics, including the tragic airline collision in Washington, D.C., the implications of current U.S. tariff policies, and the factors driving gold to new heights. Mr. Moriarty, welcome to the show.
It has been too long. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you today as we have some very important issues to discuss. Let's begin in D.C., where last week a Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines aircraft, resulting in 67 lives lost. Given your aviation background, what are your immediate thoughts on the collision?
That's going to be a really difficult question to answer because literally as time has passed, we know less about what happened. Now, what I saw appeared to be the Black Hawk climbing into the American Airlines CJR. The day after the accident, the Daily Mail in the UK came out and identified a transgender pilot on the Black Hawk. And if that was true, it would look like suicide. However, they were wrong. Okay, they got their information dead wrong. And that particular pilot came up and did a podcast and said, oh, by the way, it wasn't me. But there's something very strange, and it worries me because when the government doesn't tell you something, it means they're hiding something. And the Army had held the identification of the female pilot for about a week, okay, and wouldn't identify her. And she had some connection with the Biden White House, and she had actually escorted one of the distinguished visitors when Biden was handing out the I Was Alive medals. So unfortunately, you've asked technical questions, and I don't know. I don't think the NTSB is doing a bad job. I don't think they will do a bad job. However, it's very strange that the Army chose to hide the ID of the pilot, and all her social media was scrubbed.
Yeah,
I find that very suspicious. That's just not something you do traditionally. So why exactly did they do that? And certainly in this environment with so many weird things going on, it's very natural to say, okay, what else is the government covering up?
Well, just your immediate thoughts. Do you think that this was a suicide mission, or where do you think the blame lies? Naturally, there's several factors involved, but what's your gut instinct tell you?
It could be, okay, but I'm not going to say it would be or should be. It could be. However, we just don't have enough information. It's an absolute tragedy. Yesterday, somebody came out and said because of 5G towers, the altimeters were reading incorrectly, and that could have led to the accident. But I'm a pilot. Altimeters are not electrically controlled, they're controlled by differential pressure. So the altimeters should have been reading the same thing. So I don't know. It could be suicide, but that's a 1 in 10 chance. It's not a 9 in 10 chance. But it's a tragedy that absolutely should not have occurred, and it is a tragedy. And I'm sorry for the families of all those people who were killed.
Certainly, our condolences go there because that's, unexpected, and the loss of life can never be replaced. May I ask you this, just to circle back one more time here regarding the at least the members, the military members? Is there a possibility that someone could sneak, one of the three pilots, sneak a gun on there, terminate two of the members, and then overtake the helicopter? Is that a possibility?
Well, I don't think you would need to do that. The crew chief's in the back, and it doesn't make any difference what he does. He's not going to affect anything. And they were going to fly into the path of the American Airlines flight. So it would be very easy to yank the stick and go up 200 feet or 400 feet into the aircraft. So I'm not saying it's a probability that it was suicide, but it's a possibility that it was suicide. But there are some strange questions because we're not being told 100% of what we need to know. It's a tragedy, and I'm sorry that it happened, but I'm not sure how you could have prevented it.
Have they found the black boxes yet?
Yes.
And you think any surprises will come from that?
Hang on. I don't think so. I think it will show crystal clear what the flight path was and what the altitude was, but I think we already know that. I mean, that was under heavy radar. I think we know from a physical point of view exactly what happened, and it certainly appeared to me that the Black Hawk rammed the American Airlines flight. And why that happened, I don't know, but that's what appeared to have happened.
Yeah, with clear skies, I would assume they should be able to see that aircraft coming. One thing I did note, at least from watching the video, I did not see a rapid ascend. So it seemed like it was a straight line shot. So if there was a takeover, if you will, it would have been done prior to the video recording. This is my, again, I'm not an expert on this. It's just my view on it.
You could change 200 feet in altitude in 5 seconds.
But it looked like the helicopter, from my vantage point, was just a direct shot. I didn't see any ascend. That's what I'm referring to, is that if that took place, it wasn't.
Yeah. I don't think there are any clues from a visual point of view that'll tell you what it was.
And I have one last question. I haven't followed it this much, but have they recovered all three of the Black Hawk pilots' bodies yet?
Well, there were 2 pilots and a crew chief.
I'm sorry, crew chief, the members.
I have seen something that said all 67 bodies were recovered.
All right. Okay. And sticking in D.C., let's switch subjects here. Let's discuss the U.S. tariff policies and the international responses. Now, what is your perspective on the current U.S. tariff policies, and do you believe they're achieving their intended economic objectives?
I'm going to back off just a little bit and try to give you some context that I think is important. If you looked at Donald Trump's first administration and this administration, he was surrounded by incompetents in the first administration who literally were doing everything in their power to yank the rug out from underneath him. And in fact, they did. There were some people that's just amazing that he didn't fire on the spot, and he should have. And that's Pence, and that's, God, I can't even think about who the other guy is. That's such a two-timer. But this administration has some really, really qualified people. Some of these people have literally changed their designation from Democrat to Republican, and he has hired people who have been fiercely critical of him, but he still hired them. And pretty much across the board, with one exception, okay, I'm very unhappy with the Israel firsters. I think that's exceptionally dangerous. We'll have to get into that. But the idea of turning Gaza into some seaside resort happens to be a war crime, and I'm against war crimes. But across the board, the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, the ambassador to Israel, the ambassador to the UN, the head of the FBI, he's hired some really good people, and there's only one blind spot, and the blind spot is Israel, and that's very dangerous.
Now, out of his administration, who do you like the most?
I like two people. Okay, I love the border czar. Okay, and I would marry him, except I don't swing that way. And I love his spokesman who does all the press conferences, but I could never marry her, because you couldn't marry her because you would lose every single argument. Both of them are brilliant. They're incredible people. They're exactly what Americans need right now, and it's a pleasure watching them do their jobs.
Well, I'm excited about this administration, so I'm assuming that the feeling is mutual then.
Absolutely. And that's not across the board. You're not going to see me wearing a red beanie saying MAGA. However, I will give credit where credit is due. Some of the things they've done, like shutting down U.S. aid and offering 100% retirement deal to the CIA. I mean, these things are absolutely hilarious. And, you know, you just have to wonder, he just fired hundreds of people in the FBI, but the FBI and the CIA had been turned totally political. They were working for the Democratic Party. U.S. aid was funding every bullshit, stupid program in the entire world, as long as it was against conservative. And to cut off the printing press, printing the $100 bills, that was just wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I'm elated he's reinstituting those individuals in the military that did not take the shot. That was, to me, I mean, I applaud him 1,000% on that.
Yeah, but here's the deal. A lot of people in the military were forced to take the shot, took the shot, okay? The people in the military, actually, any of the people who did not want to take the shot were absolutely correct, and we now know how deadly the so-called vaccines are.
Yeah, truly unfortunate. And so do you like RFK in that position to address that?
Absolutely. And it's amazing to me to watch the process with him in front of the select committee, first of all, and then in front of the Senate. You can see who's been bought off by Big Pharma. And those are the people you need to get out of office. And he keeps saying he doesn't want to eliminate vaccines. He's saying he wants them tested for safety. And there's some absurd number, like 76 vaccines are required for children. Now, give me a fucking break. 76 vaccines? Are you crazy? So he's doing more for American health care than anyone in American history. It was bizarre that even his cousin, Carolyn Kennedy, came out and attacked him. He's taking the correct, rational, logical, mature approach, and everybody else is slinging shit at him. In fact, he's the guy who's looking out for American health. I mean, the American health system is the most expensive system in the world, and the longevity is actually going down for the first time in history. What we've gone through in the last 5 years is beyond criminal. It's the biggest crime in world history.
Well, and one of the impacts I hope that with the new Trump administration is for the purpose I'm about to give right now, I have to give a disclaimer because YouTube has gotten on me several times with our interviews because we just referenced the word COVID. So we are not here to give. I know.
Don't say that word.
We're not here to give medical advice, but we've proven in our conversations that the rhetoric that was provided to us by the powers to be was incorrect. But again, I've had my channel attacked by YouTube because just the reference of that COVID word, and I'm saying it right now, and I'm hoping that we'll overcome this challenge and we can speak more freely in the future as well. Because again, a number of this, a number of our interviews have been scrapped if you try to archive them. And I always want to reference that a lot of what you've shared with us in the past has come to fruition. And someone says, "Well, where did he say it?" And like the interview was on this date, and wait a minute, the interview's gone. YouTube took it away. So just a full disclaimer there.
Well, okay, let's go back. You asked me about tariffs.
Yes, sir.
And I dodged the question. I wasn't ignoring you. I was just
I was coming back to it.
Yeah. Tariffs, I'm not a big fan of. But when Donald Trump says tariff, what he really means is baseball bat, okay? I didn't realize this. I did some research into this today, but evidently there is a real problem with fentanyl coming in from Canada. I didn't realize that. I thought it was a non-issue, and you don't hear about it being captured by the RCMP because we got this enormous border and they can sneak it across. Fentanyl is a very real problem. And what he has done is he's used a baseball bat on Mexico and on Panama and on Canada and said, "Hey, guys, you want to play ball or not?" Mm-hmm. Okay. And Canada said, "Okay, we've decided we don't really want to play ball. We're going to tighten the border," which is good. And Mexico said, "We're going to send 10,000 troops and we're going to try to tighten the border." And he's made it clear the 30 days is temporary. You either do something and show something in the next 30 days, or we're going to shut your economy down. And he's serious heart attack about that. And what he did with Panama was absolutely amazing because he went down and said, "Okay, we sold you the Panama Canal for $1. Here's your dollar. We want it back." And Panama said, "Well, shit, you can't do that. We own it now." And he said, "Well, you could always give us free ride, all of the American ships coming through." And Panama said, "What a great idea. Why don't we just do that?" So he's taking more action in a shorter period of time than any president in American history. Now, I am not a never Trumper, but I'm also not an always Trumper. Some of the things that he's doing, I think, are a mistake, and some of the things that he's doing are absolutely brilliant. I would like to see some space reserved in Gitmo for all these criminals, okay, who use lawfare against him, and I think we're going to see more of that. But what he's done to both the FBI and the CIA is long overdue. They had both gotten so corrupt, and if you follow the White House spokeswoman, and she listed a bunch of the grants that USAID had given out, and I had wondered for years, how can the United States owe so much money? Where is the money going? And she showed us where the money was going. And it was absolutely bizarre. Everybody in the world was being funded. And of course, when Musk came in and said, "We want to audit U.S. aid," the guys at the top all resigned. I don't want anybody audit. They were doing it. It was criminal. So we're in for a new time now. We had talked about this before the show, we need to give this a name.
And what should the name be, sir?
It's the new Reformation. Okay. This is just as important as Martin Luther was in 1517, where he split the Catholic Church into two branches, the Catholics and the Protestants. And this is the biggest change to government in U.S. history. And some of it is absolutely brilliant, and some of it is long since overdue. And what I hope is that other countries in the world, such as Canada and the EU, will realize you just cannot run a tax and spend economy forever. Sooner or later, you got to pay the bills. So we're in for a really interesting time. Here's what's amazing. He's only been in office for 2 weeks.
Hey, I want to go back to something, and credit to you. Okay. You shared this with me. So the origins of the name Protestant means protest, correct?
Right.
So are you anticipating protest based off of his actions here?
Are you kidding?
Well, we haven't really. Oh, go ahead.
I have great fears, and I think they're rational fears. My opinion is the CIA had something to do with the assassination of John F. Kennedy and perhaps Robert F. Kennedy and perhaps Martin Luther King. I hope the truth comes out about those, but our intelligence agencies have been totally out of control for years. They demonstrated it in the last administration, and we need to get them back under control. The FBI should not be a rogue agency, and it turned into a rogue agency. And USAID should not be funding every bullshit program in the world. And the CIA should not be creating new and different wars for us every other year. The United States today is the most warlike country in history. And if anybody doesn't understand where that's going to end up, I'll be happy to pass it on to them. If you live by the sword, you are going to die by the sword.
You know, there's a book written by a famous author, The Art of Peace. And in that book, he referenced the CIA in there as well. Are you familiar with the author in the book?
Let me go look in the mirror.
Well, yeah, for anyone that is not familiar with the work, and we'll put a plug in here for Bob's work, you know, my favorite author, you are my favorite author, and you've written several books, and they encompass so many subject matters, and one of them is The Art of Peace, and I don't know if you have a copy there in front of you, but I'll display one there on the screen for everyone. But if you visit the homepage for Proven and Probable, it's going to be under the Education tab. But again, you referenced the CIA in there and its implications with the Vietnam War there.
Well, let me read something to you. And this is the second to last paragraph of the book. If you want to have some fun, pick up your book and reread the last 2 pages. Now, even though I'm the guy who wrote it, I will tell you it is some brilliant writing. Let me read this to you. The good news is that we have far more government than we can reasonably afford. All governments have been buying votes by making promises they could not possibly afford. It's not an issue of taxes. No government could afford to tax their voters enough to pay for the promises they have made. We will have far less government in the future simply because we cannot afford them, and with any luck at all, fewer wars. And I'm going to tell you something, that is friggin' brilliant.
Oh, no, don't put the book away. Please hold the book up for us, if you will, sir.
Oh, well, actually, that's the old cover, so I can't hold that.
Oh, don't worry about it. Then I'll put it up for us. And you wrote that, sir, in what, 2016 or 15?
Yeah, 2016.
The vision, the foresight. I tell you what, gotta love it. I want to go back, if we can, to the tariffs. Do you believe they're going to have the intended consequences, or do you think we might get shot in the foot here?
Here's what I'm going to say. Trump is playing chess for the first time rather than Chinese checkers. And as I've said here a little while ago, what he's saying is not necessarily what he's doing. Now, one of the things that I hadn't realized, there's a 25% tariff on Canada, and that's held in abeyance for 30 days, and a 25% tax on Mexico, and that's been held in abeyance for 30 days. And there's also a 10% tariff on China. Mm-hmm. But what China has been doing has been shipping small packages into the United States, and they've gotten away with shipping the precursors to fentanyl. And I believe, again, that's just my opinion, Donald Trump believes that the fentanyl is a problem that China has helped create, and he wants to end that problem. The fentanyl deaths are up 400% in the last 10 years. It is truly a serious problem. You go out to California, or you go out to Oregon or Washington, you could see they have destroyed their economy with this woke bullshit, with girls who think they're boys and boys who think they're girls, and everybody needs to go out and shit on the streets. We need to get away from that. And his administration is saying, we're going to go back to what America used to be rather than what it's turned into. And basically, the United States has turned into a shithole under Democratic administrations. If you look at the fires in LA, they are a perfect analog of what's wrong with government in California. The government of the state failed. The government of the city failed. The government or the leaders of the fire department failed. It was failure across the board. And the biggest natural disaster in world history could have been prevented, and it wasn't. And that frankly, is a crime.
It certainly is. I don't know if there's going to be accountability. We'll see.
We will see.
Yes, we will. I do want to go back. You did reference Panama. Does the United States have a legitimate claim to take it back?
Hell no.
Okay. But you're in favor for it.
You come to me and you say, look, I'm getting transferred someplace and I need to get rid of my banger, and it's 40 years old, and I'll sell it to you for $100 so you can drag it off. Okay. So I give you $100, and then you come back and say, no, I want my car back. No, it's not the way business works. Trump loves using baseball bats on people, and just because he said he wanted Panama didn't mean he really wanted Panama. If he got the charges per ship reduced to zero from millions of dollars on a transit, that's a giant victory for the Americans.
Yes, it is.
I'll give you the same thing with Canada and Mexico and Greenland. I don't think the United States wants Canada, Greenland, and Mexico. I've been to Greenland several times. Actually, I've been to Greenland about 15 times. It's a giant ice cube. And I've seen mining projects there. And you would have to go to the moon to spend more money trying to put a drill hole in. I love the people of Greenland. It's a really beautiful place, but why would we want it? What would we do with it? So I think he made that up about Canada, Mexico, and Greenland, but we'll see.
So you don't believe he's serious about Canada being the 51st state then?
No, hell no.
Okay, I didn't either. All right, let's move on to gold and precious metals. Today, yet again, gold reached an all-time high. What factors do you believe are driving this surge?
Again, I'm going to kind of dodge the question.
I love it.
I'm going to look at other things that are going on. And frankly, the big funds are dumping tech stocks like crazy. Now, I'm a contrarian. I hate it when everybody thinks the same way, because I know the opposite is going to happen. And too many people are in the camp of a massive crash coming. But some things, when the Chinese came out with DeepSeek a couple of months ago, that's a game killer for NVIDIA. Okay, and NVIDIA lost $600 billion in one day. I think the technical part of the stock market, the tech side, is a giant balloon running around looking for a pin.
I want to go back to, well, not go back, but it's involving tech. The big elephant in the room, of course, is Bitcoin. Its price, you and I both agree, or I'm sorry, I called it Bitcoin. Its price currently is at 100K. A lot of people that own precious metals want to know, can gold reach that same price range?
It's one of those good news, bad news stories.
Okay.
Do you want to live in a world with $100,000 gold?
I do not.
I don't think I want to either. I look at the whole crypto thing. It is so obviously fraud that I'm surprised anybody is putting money into it. It is 99% speculation, and it's 1% investment. And that's just too dangerous. For there to be 15,000 variations of Bitcoin is patently absurd. And I think the proof in the pudding, I'll give you three different analogies. Somebody starts a cryptocurrency, and anybody can do this, and they named it Fart Coin. When you buy Fart Coin, what are you buying?
Exactly. I still don't have an answer for that. Other than well, apparently a fart and privacy that you own the fart.
Well, you're buying the fart.
Yeah.
Okay. The amazing thing is, people are paying $1.5 billion for a fart. And if anybody thinks that makes sense, they need to come visit me, because I got a lot of farts. I'll sell them for pennies on the dollar.
Okay. What else is it that concerns you about cryptocurrencies?
Well, one of the things that absolutely amazed me, and I would love to find the guy who came up with the idea, but the idea of Donald Trump announcing a meme coin before he was president is so irrational and so unethical.
That's the word there.
Absolutely staggered. And I think the valuation got up to $90 billion. And then Melania came up with a meme coin of her own. Those things have no value whatsoever. Now, when you start paying $90 billion for a meme, okay, or $1.5 billion for a fart, that's not rational. That's totally insane. And I think it marks the top. And I think we are in this gradual process right now. I think the markets are topping, and they're just in search of a pin. And one of these days, they're going to find a pin, and it's going to be all over.
And we're not here to give price projections, guess. That's a false narrative in my view. No one knows that. But do you foresee...
No, I'll do that.
Oh, go for it. This is a first...
Bitcoin's going to zero.
All right.
There's no value there. There is nothing there. You can't hold it. You can't touch it. You certainly can't smell it. Why would you pay $100,000 for a Bitcoin you can't even see?
Well, now, related to the cryptocurrencies is blockchain. Do you have the same view on blockchain?
Blockchain is a very interesting technical advance, but blockchain is not money. It's an accounting system. Mm-hmm. You know, the accounting system that I use for my business costs $79. Okay, and how much would I pay for a distributed accounting system? Well, $79. Okay, and that's it. Blockchain is interesting, but it's a solution running around looking for a problem.
I like that one. Now, how do you foresee the role of precious metals evolving in the current economic climate, especially considering global uncertainties?
If you want to make money, find the smartest guy you know and copy him. And when all the central banks are buying gold, these are the people who are aware the most of the situation that world's financial system is in. And frankly, I don't see any alternative to a massive crash. I don't think it can be avoided. And to give Dodge, okay, Elon Musk and his buddies credit, they're saying they think they could save $1 trillion. So the deficit will only be $1 trillion a year as opposed to $2 trillion. Well, if the deficit's $1 trillion a year, we're going to go bankrupt. Okay, if the deficit's $2 trillion a year, we're going to go bankrupt a lot sooner. You've got to solve the problem, and it's not just an issue of firing people in the FBI and firing people in the DOJ and firing people in the CIA and firing 20% across the board in the government. You have to reduce the entitlements, and you have to start producing something.
Yes.
Now, there's 3 ways to generate wealth. Would I embarrass you if I ask you what they are?
You certainly would, but go ahead. It has to be production,
Okay.
savings.
You can grow it. You can grow it. Okay. You take a corn cob, you pull a cob off, or you pull a kernel off, and you throw it into the ground. You come back 100 days later, you have an entire corn cob.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have just created wealth. Okay. Growing things creates wealth, and the United States has more arable land relative to its total size than any country on earth, and it has tremendous financial competitive advantage because of our ability to grow things efficiently. So that's one. The other thing that you can do is you can take some silicone and you can take some copper and you could take some gold and you could take some other crap and kind of mix it up and create an iPhone, and you can take $10 worth of material and you could sell it for $1,000. Now you have just created wealth. So you can grow it, or you can manufacture it, or you could mine it. Okay? You go out and you dig a hole, you find a gold nugget at the bottom of the hole, and you pull it up, and it costs you $5 to dig it up, and the gold nugget's worth, right now, it's worth $111. So you have created wealth. Now, every other occupation, a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, okay, those are all derivative occupations. Somebody had to create wealth in the first place to be able to distribute it to accountants and doctors and lawyers, etc. We can't change very much in the ability of the American agricultural system to produce wealth. It's a pretty efficient system. And we have given our manufacturing away. We literally threw it away, which is total insanity. And part of what Trump wants to do with tariffs is to create incentives for people to bring business back to the United States. And I do support that. But that's going to take years to do. Alternatively, you could stop throttling mining through bureaucratic stupidity. Okay, I was going to look this up, and unfortunately, I just ran out of time. There is a copper project near in Arizona called Rosebud or Rosemont that has giant copper potential. And they've been screwing around for 20 years trying to get permitted, okay? And I can flat guarantee you Donald Trump and Elon Musk are going to go out and they're going to find all these projects that the bureaucrats and the tree huggers have been killing for years, and they're going to put them into production. Now, I'm not against hugging trees. I hug trees all the time. But the tree huggers in California kept the communities in Southern California for clearing out the brush, and by not clearing out the brush, they created a firestorm that cost $250 billion. You have to balance your tree hugging. You have to hug the nice trees and ignore the bad trees.
I want to go back to the mining aspect of it because we're discussing gold here. Are you surprised that the mining stocks or exploration stocks as a whole haven't really moved that much?
No, I think that's wonderful.
Well, it gives you opportunity, certainly, for you and I to buy more
Yeah, exactly. I'm
But
not as dumb as I look.
but when do you anticipate a move? Because I would have thought January we should have seen some healthier numbers from a number of qualitative companies out there, and they haven't moved as much as I thought they would.
Uh,
In particular, with a surging gold price.
there are things that you can predict, and one of the things you cannot predict is timing. Okay. Now, what do you suppose the price of gold is on Kitco right now?
It's about 28.75.
Now it's 2860.70. I
All right.
looked it up. That has to have an impact. Now, what has happened is the stock market has shot up in the last year, the cryptocurrencies have shot up in the last year, and that has just sucked money out of resources. I see that in the process of turning right now. And once people realize the very real, incredible opportunity in these junior mining companies. I'm writing about a company right now that's up in the Tombstone Gold Belt, and everybody's got a valuation of 900 million or 130 million or 40 million, and this company had a valuation of 3 million. So I went out and bought some shares.
And if you want to, you're free to share the name of the company.
Okay, well, it's no longer cheap now. Now it's a $6 million market cap, but it's Trifecta Gold, and they're in the Tombstone Gold Belt. And quite bluntly, that is going to be the place to invest. Snowline's up there, Sitco's up there, Victoria Gold was there, Banyan is there, and there's a lot of gold up there. And what's going to happen is Canada is going to be dragged kicking and screaming into the new economy because, I mean, Canada's broke. That's simple. They finally got rid of that idiot, okay, who was running the place. And sooner or later, they could say, you know, we just can't keep spending money on bullshit that we can't do anything with. We need to actually generate an income. Somebody's going to say, well, hell, you know, we used to do that with mining. Why don't we try that again? Somebody's going to say, what a great idea. Why don't we try that? If they would reduce the bureaucratic bullshit, which is like 10 gallons per ounce, okay, mining would be far more efficient.
For someone listening that is intrigued, wants to, deploy capital here to physical precious metals and or resource stocks, they sometimes, in my opinion, conflate the two. What words of wisdom would you share with someone that hasn't purchased any physical precious metals and or a resource stock? Because what I tend to hear often or see often, and I'm sure you do as well, is a person says, I'm going to buy this great company, I've heard about them, and once they are a 10-bagger, I'm going to sell, and that's when I'll get my physical precious metals. What are your thoughts on that?
I wonder if they believe in the Easter Bunny.
Possibly.
That's the question. You should ask these people, how do you feel about Santa Claus? What do you think about the Easter Bunny? If you lose a tooth and you look under your pillow, are you going to find a silver dollar? And of course, they answer yes to all those questions and tell them what you need to do is you need to invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah. When you referenced the tooth there, you reminded me of a joke you shared with me a couple of years ago. How do you know that the toothbrush was invented in Arkansas?
Yeah.
Go ahead and share that one with us one more time, if you would.
Well, you know it from the name.
Go ahead and give it to us.
They call it a toothbrush, okay? Now, if it was invented in California or it was invented in Washington or it was invented in Washington, D.C. or Baltimore, they would call it a teeth brush. But they call it a toothbrush, and they call it a toothbrush for a reason.
All right. Well, hey, let's go back here to gold, if we can, one more time here. Or not just gold. What advice would you offer investors considering entering precious metals at this juncture? And what are you buying right now and why?
I'm buying Trifecta is what I'm buying. I am fully invested in platinum and silver, and that's what I think is going to move the most. I look at the price of
but
gold.
Bob, gold is at an all-time high. Why would I not buy gold?
Well, because it's an all-time high. You want to catch the top? I'm trying to catch the bottom.
Amen. Sorry about that, sir. I had to stop you there. Go ahead.
Was that a joke?
Well, I wanted to interject there because, again, for someone that's watching, they tend to always want to, again, chase what's already too late. And you made a great point. You buy the best value proposition, and in my opinion, and in your opinion, it is platinum and it is silver. But I'm sorry, please go ahead.
If you told a joke, I didn't get it. Could you hit me with the punchline?
Well, there wasn't a punchline. What I was trying to confirm, again, I'm just trying to make sure that people understand
Preach.
that you shouldn't be buying gold.
It ain't got a punchline. It ain't a joke. Since you have read the books, clearly, okay, you want to buy what everybody's ignoring, and you want to sell what everybody's buying. If the value of the Donald Trump meme coin is $90 billion, and you love Donald Trump, but you love money just as much, you should sell the meme coin because it's going to decrease in value. When you have something like NVIDIA that had, I think, a $3 trillion market cap at one time, one stock, okay, and it was all based on this most advanced state-of-the-art computer chip. And then the Chinese, who were not allowed to buy those chips, went out and came up with a software solution that costs 3% of the cost of AI. That was absolutely remarkable. I love free markets. Okay, free markets are really dynamic, and if one company has a lock on anything, you're going to have 1,000 other companies trying to figure out how they can pick that lock, and they're going to succeed. And I got to salute the Chinese. They're brilliant people, and they work very hard, and they hit a home run out of the park. And that home run, well, the really funny thing about DeepSeek was announced in December, and nobody realized it. It was only recently that somebody pointed out, hey, wait a minute, that's going to yank the rug right out from underneath tech stocks, which is true. Mm-hmm. But then Alibaba came out and said, yeah, well, DeepSeek is interesting, but we've got a better, faster, and cheaper software solution. And that's what you get in a free competitive market, and I fully salute that.
Now, if I can go back to precious metals, you did say silver, you did say platinum. And
right.
Do you foresee platinum being the better buy or silver being the better buy right now?
My opinion is silver will be a better buy. The people who traditionally buy silver are followers. They're not leaders. And when they move into a market, they move into it big time. And because silver is easy to buy and sell, and platinum it's not, they're going to move into silver. And you could see $40, $50, $100 silver today, okay? And one of these days soon you're going to. I believe the world's financial system is balanced very neatly on the head of a pin, and one of these days soon it's going to fall over.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to purchase physical precious metals, please give me a call. You can call me at 855-505-1900, and you're calling me directly, Maurice Jackson. That number again is 855-505-1900. Now, in closing, sir, what keeps you up at night that we don't know about?
Well, frankly, it's farts. And I spend a lot of time thinking about people paying $1.5 billion for a fart coin that you can't even smell.
Yes, that's really something to think about.
It keeps me up at night. You asked.
It certainly does. All right, sir. Last question, that is, what did I forget to ask?
Did we discuss Trump's take it or leave it offer for the CIA?
Well, we touched on the CIA, the FBI, and U.S. aid, but I don't know if
he offered the CIA, he offered 100% of the employees of the CIA, they can retire and get 8 months benefits.
Yes, we did touch on that. Yes, sir.
That's a big deal. That is really a big deal.
Noted, sir. Well, Mr. Moriarty, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, sir. Wishing you the absolute best, sir.
Thank you. It's been way too long, and I hope I don't get you kicked off YouTube.
We'll see.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.